The Wrestling Gizmo Podcast presents our recap of AEW Double or Nothing 2024 from the MGM Grand Garden Arena. What a ridiculously crazy and crammed, jam-packed card tonight. But before I get started on things, I want to make this point. MJF, after the International Championship match with Will Ospreay, who became new champion over Roderick Strong. I love the match. It was really well done. And Will Ospreay, obviously, you're seeing now with the new signees they brought into the company, they're all they're in real top positions at the moment. Mercedes Moné now is a new TBS champion, and a lot of things going on with that. And, Kazuchika Okada featured in one of the three main events in the card tonight with Anarchy in the Arena, which was wild. They went really far for an extreme match to go ahead and set Jack Perry on fire, just his pants, but still, that's quite a feat for them to do that. To have Darby Allin hanging from the rafters. Well, not to the rafters, but like he was hanging suspended above the ring. That right there, that was some pretty wild stuff they put into that match. But what was most important to me that really stood out, that is still one of the most standout things throughout the night, is MJF's return. So after Roddy Strong loses the belt, Adam Cole comes out. MJF confronts, a lot of symbolism behind it, because MJF, first of all, everybody made a point on X to compare the return of Triple H from the long injury that he had, wearing the jacket, the jean jacket, coming out there, no shirt, and that's exactly what MJF decided to go and do. And we got to break down the promo that he did tonight, because he did get a few minutes to go and talk. He says, he pretty much made it standpoint. He tattooed AEW to his leg, and bottom line is, he's committed to the company. He's not going anywhere. He said he went, Jordan Belfort and Wolf of Wall Street, Leo DiCaprio, he went and said it. I'm not going anywhere. And for those fans that are going to be watching this pay-per-view tonight, and you're going to go listen around for commentary, I want you to be aware of a couple things. And this is something I wanted to go ahead and make a point of, because watching King and Queen of the Ring last night, watching Double or Nothing tonight, it's time to start calling out what has been too long going on of the gaslighting of AEW fans. Also, there's the apologies of AEW fans as well. That's just not necessary. But the loyal WWE fanatics, okay, the ones that are, let's be honest, fair weather fans, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, it's like here and down in South Florida, when there's a team like the Dolphins or the Heat or the Panthers, if they're winning and they have the winning team, then people are going to go ahead and be rooting behind them and screw everybody else. Meanwhile, if they're losing, they're going to crap on the team. This is normal sports fan behavior. But the one thing is that AEW, for whatever reason, they had a time where they were pretty hot, and tonight they come off a very hot Double or Nothing. The pay-per-view was crammed. It was quite good. A couple of matches probably could have trimmed off the card. I could have gone with the FTW rules match. I could have gone without the Orange Cassidy Trent Beretta match. Just saying, we could have put those on TV. Personally, I didn't get much out of seeing those two matches in here tonight, but, it's part of the thing. And a lot of stuff being thrown on the ground, by the way. So, dice for Chris Jericho, thumbtacks being used, like every kind of weapon you could think of was used tonight. Jack Perry also taking water torture. Let's just take that for another moment. He was waterboarded for about 5-10 seconds in the match as well. Really just beyond belief with Darby Allin out there. Okay, but MJF's point and the fact he's going to stay with the company and the way he talked about the company, there's a lot to break down, and I will talk more about that. But I want you to start being beware. Listen, in this particular podcast, I'm safe harbor, okay? I'm a fence sitter. I don't give a shit. I am not loyal, nor am I, a standard bearer for either promotion or any promotion, okay? I like promotions, but I am not a fan Okay. I am a fan of all professional wrestling. Okay. I watch quite a bit of it that I can watch on TV. That's what I'm all about. But I talk mostly about WWE, and to the most point, we'll talk about AEW, among other things, in TNA, and a third. And then if I get time, if people will allow me and people will listen to it, I'll talk about NW and MLW all you want, and Ring of Honor. But I don't like the tribalism, and I know there's some people out there that can't help themselves. They're making it a business to gaslight you, to give you rage bait, to give you clickbait, because they're going to feed the listeners that they might have suckered in. They might have drawn you in like a narcissist, okay? They drew you in like a narcissist, saying, oh, we're AEW fans from the very get-go. And they get you like, oh, we're going to the events. We're so into it. And now when it's, in style to bash AEW, they are. Okay, yeah, there's a couple of guys. There's one I always keep following that he is the epitome of it. He has 2 initials, and he comes from a Big Apple, right? We know who that is. It doesn't matter to me. It can be punching up. But, do I need to worry about his minions coming on board to go and attack me? I don't care. I'm not trying to make super money on these shows, but he is. And other media sources out there and other commentators and Twitch streamers are. You guys can all do that. You want to make money off of that? You want to make money off of pissing off your audience, off of, getting them all worked up into a froth, making them feel like what you're saying, like a cult leader. You want to say like what you're saying is the gospel? No, it's not. No, it's not. You can go ahead all you want. And you can go ahead and be hypocritical and sanctimonious at the same time. But at the end of the day, I know you're WWE fans. And when you're fickle and you're pissed off when it was not great 5 years ago, yeah, you're going to be pissed off. And you know what? There's a whole situation why you feel like that. And on Wednesday, I'm going to tell you why. Because I took a few notes over this weekend that I'm going to present on Wednesday night's program. Get ready for that. It's going to be a sermon. I'm going to explain some things to all of you, and I'm going to call things out. I'm not going to be calling out podcasters, not by name. I'm going to stay respectful here. I'm the adult here, right? I'm one of the older guards of this program. I've been doing this 12 years. So, I can go ahead and play a little bit along and say, you know what? I'm not going to go ahead and play into that so much and get everybody else all worked up. 11 and a half years, but technically coming up on 12. So I'm not going to do that to people. But I need you to realize that when you want to be a fan of AEW and you love Double or Nothing, hey, praise it. Love it, because it was great. I love the show. I like the show better than I did Queen of the Ring, but I watched both shows. But I enjoyed this card more. My thing was, it was a little too long. And they put a lot of stuff in there. I mean, 4.5 hours of the main card, and that's not counting, first hour or 30 some odd minutes of the pre-show, where you had 2 matches. Deonna Purrazzo beating Thunder Rosa. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that match. And, the Acclaimed over Cage of Agony in a trios match. I missed that too. But either which way, the card was solid. Will Ospreay beats Roderick Strong. By the way, Roderick Strong, hell of a match. And, we don't give enough credit to Roderick Strong. I like the fact that in AEW, Roderick Strong has had the most thought out character. Is it much more different than who he is? It's not Camp Strong. It's not the whole, setup of the truth, being with Truth Martini or anything like that. It's not anything like that. But I mean, look, the Kingdom, the setup, and Roderick Strong just having a monster match here with Will Ospreay. And, they played a lot of things up. Don Callis telling, hey, use Tiger Driver 91. Nope. And that's going to be a consistent thing where there's going to be still like a thorn in the side that Don Callis is going to always be relentless and ruthless in wanting Will Ospreay to win. But he won the title nevertheless. That's going to be brought up. Somewhere on Dynamite match, they're going to bring that up. But yeah, strong match. Crazy. A lot of stuff going on there. Bang Bang Gang. They retained the Trios Championship over Death Triangle. Really good match. And once again, the only reason it happened with Wade was because we get a returning Juice Robinson back to the ring. So that's the way that really set up with that. Otherwise, it was pretty much matched up pretty straight up. Another great match. Serena Deeb pulling all the stops against Timeless Toni Storm. I love that. And, when you talk about AEW, one thing I do like is that some of their factions are done, not just people being put together. That I do feel like that some of the factions we have some kind of depth to them. Like Luther is like the assistant, the chauffeur, the confidant. For the fact that Luther was such a ruthless, violent character in Japan, and look at what he is now in the suit, and Mariah May being like the understudy of Timeless Toni Storm, and the whole setup with the black and white, the whole setup of chest out, tits up, and watch for the shoe, all that kind of stuff's going on. It really is fun. Toni Storm still not tired of this gimmick, and I know people are going to eventually say, yeah, she's going to turn face. I know Brian Alvarez and Mike Summervie and the folks are going to be like, well, who is she supposed to be? Like, can we identify? What's the other thing? What was it? Is she babyface or heel? And, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer are going after it, kind of attacking along. But for me, it's like, I just enjoyed the match. And Serena Deeb, a very strong opponent, and also for the comeback, put a lot of time in the match. The women's matches were great. I thought they really did a bang-up job putting the women's matches up tonight. 2 good women's matches, and very strong, very well put together. A lot of the matches I felt longer, but I guess they weren't. But they put a lot in here, man. So those first 3 matches, solid. The lull for me came with the FTW Rules match. So, Chris Jericho, he works the 3-way match, works around both of them, is able to go ahead and neutralize Hook, hits Judas Effect, but Jericho pins Shibata to retain the title. For one thing that could be said, Hook is still being kept. He didn't take another pin. They let it go to Shibata this time. Interesting. Takeshita in the Eliminator match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Moxley did not bleed. Not expecting that at all. But hell of a strong match. And Takeshita is just, he really, the one thing I guess with the factions that are a bit of a factor here is that there's not enough time for the factions to really kind of build up. They have factions that don't have much of a story. Like Don Callis, we've had a story built in, but it's not a consistently told story. And I think that's the one word that AEW is best described as one of their flaws. It's inconsistent. The stars they have out there on a regular basis, some of them are consistent. They do, when MJF was out there, before he got hurt, he was out there a lot. The Kingdom, inconsistent. Death Triangle, Lucha Brothers, inconsistent. House of Black, inconsistent. Except for right now, I think they're getting a little bit more out of the fact we had this, the match with the TNT title and the whole deal with House of Black right now with the Brood and the House of Black. I think we finally got a story there where House of Black can be more involved. That's cool. Now, and there's others, you can think about Shane Taylor Promotions. You can think about, we had Mogul Embassy out there, or Cage of Agony, and all these other groups that are out there that they're just kind of lost in translation, inconsistent. And I think one of the reasons, and I'm going to bring that up on Wednesday, is I think that Ring of Honor, and the thing that Tony Khan hasn't done yet, is that he obviously wanted to put a TV deal for that. And I think the way they're trying to work out the brands, there's obviously a hierarchy of what Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage are. But it's not a matter that he's trying to position certain stars that are solely dedicated to a particular brand. And I get that part. Sometimes they were kind of doing a little bit of that, especially when CM Punk came in, and they were doing the Collision stuff with CM Punk, and then certain people he wanted to work with, you had a little bit of a brand split there. But for the most part, we're not seeing much of a brand split. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's it's not fleshed out. So the thing is that, a lot of really great stars on the roster, but you never know when you're going to see them. And sometimes you really don't know when somebody's hurt and when they're coming back. Like we haven't seen Miro in a while. We didn't see Adam Cole in a while. We haven't seen Britt Baker in a while. We haven't seen Ricky Starks in a while. Like it's those things where you have stars in here and then like, they just kind of fade away. And we really don't get to find out where they are, what it is. And, we have to go online and go and look at the dirt sheets to find out what's going on with them. And it's a bit hectic. It's a little bit too much to kind of work off of there. And that's going to be part of the thing I got to bring up in terms of, you can be fickle and you can go and shit on AEW. There's some justified reasons, of course. But it doesn't explain the fact that some of the commentary, some of the criticism that are being done by the mostly WWE loyal fans that will talk about AEW. Part of the reason too is that they don't want to talk like they only know about one brand. Like that's the part too. There's a bit of this ignorance that they don't want to show that they have. Because WWE fans can be, when they're loyal fans, they can be very ignorant of other brands. They can be very ignorant of other people. Because remember, if it didn't happen in WWE, it doesn't matter. It's like a figment of imagination. It's like, we don't know Will Ospreay. He hasn't been here yet. We don't know about Okada. He hasn't been here yet. Right? Do we know about Mercedes Benz? We know her Sasha Banks. Right? It's like, and it's not even like the courtesy of like having like a translator. So we should mention that Edge and Gangrel from the Brood took on Aleister Black. No, we're not going to do that. You don't deserve it. If you're not going to be like a diehard wrestling fan and watch other brands and like actually kind of, diversify your wrestling acumen, yeah, then, what am I doing here? Like, I don't want to talk to the WWE fans that don't at least have an open mind. And, we can go ahead and nitpick WWE programming and production all we want. Don't want to go ahead and nitpick the fact that, Logan Paul, they had that great overhead shot with the jib camera when they got him going, hit the shot. But there was also like a pinfall. And I forget which match it was. Was it Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes? They had a pinfall attempt that they missed. It was a near fall, but still, they had a camera all the way somewhere else. From the hard camera all the way back, zoom back, and they missed the fall until the 3 count. Them hit the hand hitting the mat by the referee for the 3, and it was a near fall. Okay, we can nitpick that all we want to, but I'm not here to do that. That's not for me to worry about. I'm not going to I don't care about that. But those is one of those things that I was thinking about a lot when it comes to this pay-per-view tonight. And last night, and going over this weekend of wrestling, and just realizing, man, people just need to get off this shit. Can we just appreciate wrestling? As far as I'm concerned with this program, you're not going to hear that from me. I'm not going to go that route. And, first of all, I'm not going to go ahead and, put myself down in the hole with all these other people in the media and all these other Twitch streamers and all these other podcasters, my fellow podcast wrestling brethren. I'm not going to get into the dirt and the mud with them. I will say, do better. That's it. And they're not. See, the thing is, it'll fall on deaf ears. If I even tried to respond to certain people out here, I'd get blocked. I'd get whatever. Social media is like it is. Okay? And that's fine. I could care less. I mean, when I tried to say something to Sean Ross Sapp, he blocked me. I mean, everybody else has been blocked by him too. It don't matter. It's okay. I still read Fightful. I still look at his page. I'm not butthurt over that. And the other people that would be butthurt. But, be mature here, huh? Just say, come on. Everybody's got this whole buck up their ass about AEW sometimes, because they wanted it to be this alternative group. And it's like, they didn't go the way they wanted. And they want to try to attach WCW to it. Listen, and Brian Alvarez said it right. We live WCW, okay? I watched all that shit. It's not WCW. Cut that shit out. Cut that shit out because you're wrong. Amazing. Like I said, there was a lull in the middle of the night. It picks back up with the eliminator match for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Then we go to that barbed wire steel cage match. And again, this is where the night really goes out there and goes wild. So you get that barbed wire steel cage match. We get the Brood coming back because it's just Gangrel. And he comes out there and I'm like, comes out from underneath the ring we get the fire going on for Adam Copeland. It's like bringing back the Brood gimmick here for this, just a throwback, a nod. I like it. It was fun. People are going to be happy about that. That's going to be very noteworthy for people. A lot of newsworthy stuff going on tonight. And Malachi Black, by the way, wrapped in barbed wire on a table, and Adam Copeland going off the top rope. Like he's Kurt Angle here. Man, let me tell you. That's the one thing I think is that there's something to be said about when I looked at Adam Copeland out in the ring and Bryan Danielson. I'm saying to myself, WWE would have never allowed this. They would have never let these guys take the risk of taking it out. Because, they had neck injuries. They've got, health scares. Got it. But they want to keep working. They don't care. They're death-defying. They're just going to keep moving. And they did. And they're still going. It's like, well, there you go. Hell of a match. Will Nightingale, different look to her. It was kind of like, it was interesting to see her come out with a different look of the hair. And, Will Nightingale, Stokely Hathaway accompanying. And what a bad night for poor Willow Nightingale. She loses to Mercedes Moné, 18-minute match. They gave it a strong match. But again, Willow Nightingale already got a win off of her before. Seeing Monet come in here and now become champion. This is like, when Christian Cage became TNA champion right away, or when Hogan became champion, right? It's like, yeah, the big star that comes in, yeah, they're going to get the belt right away. So to see the, this kind of thing going on here, no surprise to see Mercedes Moné win the AEW TBS the championship. No surprise there. Everybody kind of expected it. Yeah, she's going to be up there. Let her be there with the belt. Now let's see what comes up next. But now Willow Nightingale has Chris Statlander to deal with because Stokely, the whole ruse where Stokely Hathaway berates Willow Nightingale for losing the belt. Chris Statlander pushes away Stokely. And then Chris Statlander accompanies her friend, air quotes, only to screw her as well. Heel turn for Chris Statlander. First heel turn for her, by the way. Interesting. But we also saw that she kept, her look was getting more dark. So we could have taken the hint off of there, especially tonight. She looked much different. She looked good, but she definitely had a different look to herself than she normally has. So Stokely has gotten into her mind, whatever's going on, but Chris Statlander has now turned heel. Swerve Strickland, Christian Cage, very good match. Swerve Strickland, that was a match he needed to have. Like, obviously, the win over Samoa Joe was one thing, but to have this going on tonight where, people were kind of asking, they made the point that the Young Bucks were the ones that, as the EVPs, they granted Christian Cage the title opportunity. Set it up. And let me tell you, it delivered. They did a good job where they had Prince Nana that was out there. He got screwed over by the patriarchy at ringside. He gets kicked out. Then the patriarchy gets kicked out. And they had the whole plunder going on right there, which was like, okay, built that up. Swerve Strickland, Christian Cage, man, they had a barn burner. That was a really great match. Hell of a job. And Swerve Strickland getting the win, finishing it off. I like his title run so far. I really do. I don't know if we go back to Christian Cage again, but that was a hell of a match. What a setup for that. I really enjoyed it. The Elite, Anarchy in the Arena, I've already said a few things about that. That was wild. That was ridiculous. And waterboarding, suspended in air. Darby Allin, Jack Perry, man, they took the brunt of some real shit tonight. I like the Jack Perry character now. Man, he wasn't turning heel that well, but attached to the Young Bucks, absolutely. And I think that's what's going on with the Young Bucks right now. Having Okada with them, turning him heel. Having Jack Perry with him, turning him heel. Is the Young Bucks are able to turn heel and effectively become heel in this role. And that's Tony Khan getting thrown out there in the meantime as well. We didn't say much about that, but, he was just thrown out there like he's a hostage. And there's a lot going on. But Young Bucks obviously knew, man, if they were going to get this match at the end of the night, hey, listen, following the barbed wire steel cage match, following the AEW World title match, Anarchy in the Arena had to step it up another notch. And obviously they did a lot of things where you had to go as far as they did if you were going to be that last match of the night to close it out. And they did it. Memorable, wild, even exploding chairs. And I still remember people complain about that one night when they had the exploding barbed wire match with Kenny Omega and Eddie Kingston comes out to help, right? Help out John Moxley. And, it didn't work out well. Like, it's one of those things that people are always going to go back to, but you know what? That's AEW. They got to take some shit for that because they deserve it. That did not turn out well. Okay. But otherwise, people can have all they want to say about AEW and complain. I enjoyed this pay-per-view. I had never had a pay-per-view I thought that was like a dud at all. I enjoyed this pay-per-view a lot. And I can see where if you want to go back and look at this because there was so much going on, you can go back to this again and watch all these matches because it is wild. It's so much going on here. Cramped. Again, could have gone with a couple less matches, but that's what they're going to deliver. Crowd was all into it. Crowd was very much into it tonight. Just heed the caution I told you about tonight. When it comes to all these other people that are going to come out here and start bitching and moaning, complaining, know who your podcasters, know who your media people are, know where they stand on certain things. If you need a little bit of background on who they are and what they said, because there are people that are fair weather. Okay, the other word that we always use in sports terms is bandwagon. So some WWE fans at the time in 2019, when WWE was not doing so good, which is what allowed AEW had the chance to go ahead and join into the fray 5 years ago in the first place, the rebellion, right, the revolution. At that time, sure, you had fans get on the bandwagon. Now they're jumping off. Oh, it's not so hot. Oh, okay. You go jump off, and then you're not going to just jump off and just ignore them. No, you're going to bash them. Because for whatever reason, you have an animus with them. You got vitriol. And for some of you, it gives you clicks, it gives you likes, it gives you subscriptions. It makes you some money, some donations. Oh, good for you. Again, one of the podcasters I made mention of, vaguely, but you can figure it out. Summertime's going to be 2 nights? Great, I'm going to make more money off of that. Unapologetically saying that on the air. Okay, good for you. Good for you. Do I care about making money on this program? Not really. What, advertising? I don't make that much off of this show. Nothing. I enjoy sitting there after this show's done, after the pay-per-view's done. I want to sit down here in my nice comfy chair in front of my laptop. And I want to talk to you guys on this microphone right here. I enjoy doing this. I've enjoyed some 851 episodes I've done of this program. I look forward to it. I don't get tired of it. It's easy for me to go and sit down and do an hour's worth of content. No problem. Not tonight. We're going to keep it short because, like I said, I got a lot to go and say coming up on Wednesday night, my regular broadcast, because we're going to go ahead and talk about this tribalism here. Plus, we'll talk about whatever the things that happened, the aftermath from Raw and from Dynamite that goes on with both of these shows. So a lot happened here. We're going to leave it there. Thanks for listening in. Find the shows you always do. kingofpodcasts.com is where you find everything that was on this show. All my social media, all past episodes, where you can join my supporters club for only $2 a month, where you can get extra content. And I hope you'll consider that. Come back this Wednesday for a really fun Wrestling Gizzer podcast because wrestling needs us.